Hi and welcome to Whisky Shared. You're watching episode 56 of my Mystery Monthly Minis. I'm Toby and you're watching Whisky Shared. Welcome to episode 56 of my Mystery Monthly Minis. If you've seen this before and you know how it works, then you can just skip straight forward to the tasting. Otherwise, the way this works is I have over 100 samples in my sample collection and my wife has picked one at random. She's put it into a blue Glencairn glass and I'll nose it, I'll taste it, I'll tell you if I like it, and I'll have a stab at what I think it is. This is just for fun, so sometimes I get it right and sometimes I get it wrong. Shall we find out what I'm drinking? On to the whiskey. If you'd like to play along with me and find out what's on my glass when I do, then just keep watching. Otherwise, take a look in the description now for a sneak peek. Let's start with the nose. Okay, so this is quite light to start. I'm getting like vanilla, I'm getting a little bit of charred oak. Possibly some fruit in there. Yeah, maybe some cherries or berries. Yeah, there's definitely a fruity note in there. Could be from a wine or a sherry. ABV wise, I probably don't think it's higher than 46 at this stage. But yeah, it's not giving off much at the minute. It could be a single malt whiskey. It could potentially also be a bourbon, but it's only because I'm picking up sort of a cherry note, but it is not strong at this stage. There's a slight sort of dusty or antique note to this. But yeah, the nose isn't giving away much. Let's move on to the palate. I'm inclined to think that this is more likely a bourbon or American whiskey. It has that sort of note. It definitely is hotter than I picked up on the nose. My eyes were slightly trying to water as I sipped this. I think it's probably in the high 50s. I think it's possibly a bourbon. I think it's incredibly difficult for me to pick out because this, although it has certain characteristics that make me think it's a bourbon, it doesn't instantly ring any bells of any particular style or distillery that I'm familiar with. It's not overly fruit forward on the palate like some bourbons, and it's not overly oaky either, but I'm inclined to think it's a bourbon at this stage and it's reasonably high ABV. Let's have another sip. I'm wondering if this is a bourbon with some age. It definitely seems well-rounded. It doesn't seem very sharp. There's not much ethanol. There's like there is a slight sort of mustiness to it, which makes me think it's older. It could be single barrel. It's, yeah, I think it's probably a brand I'm not familiar with, because I think if it was from one of the more mainstream bourbon brands, then maybe it would ring a bell. But it definitely seems slightly off character to most of the bourbons I've tried. Let's have one final sip. There's a bit of me thinking that maybe it isn't as high ABV now. There's definitely some heat to this and some pepper that lingers on the palate, but I'm wondering, possibly my palate has got used to it, possibly it's slightly lower, maybe sort of low to mid 50s, but it definitely gives me bourbon vibes, leaning more towards something that's aged, something that potentially is not as mainstream. But yeah, I don't think I can nail it down any more than that. Should we find out what's in my glass? Right, so it's Drumshanbo single pot still Irish whiskey. It's 43% ABV, and it came to me as part of my Whisky Pioneer subscription. So obviously I was wrong on all counts, but there was nothing in there that immediately gave me sort of pot still green malt sort of vibes. I don't know what the makeup is of this particular single pot still Irish whiskey, whether or not it's only like 5% or whether or not it's more. It's definitely a brand I'm not familiar with. ABV wise, it definitely comes across hotter, but I would, you know, as I sort of reframe that, I thought it was maybe low 50s, but even then it definitely comes across hotter than 43% ABV. It definitely doesn't give Irish whiskey vibes, and I think obviously, you know, I've only had a few minutes to taste this in real time on camera. Spending time with this in the glass afterwards, you know, that's the real test. And obviously once you know, your brain starts to make certain connections and flavours start to come out. But it'd be interesting to see if this has been aged or finished in anything, because there definitely is a fruitiness which I wouldn't expect from a ex-bourbon cask single pot still Irish whiskey. So yeah, I definitely need to find out a little bit more about this, and as I said, my brain might well make the connections once I've had more time with it. If you've tried this particular whiskey, then let me know in the comments as always, and if not, hopefully you found that interesting, and hopefully you'll come again soon. Ciao. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, why not give it a like or a comment, and please consider subscribing for more videos like this.